Okay, well, I think we are live and good to go. Hopefully, we can move this just so I can take a look there. Just want to make sure that my audio looks good over here, which I know sounds dumb, but when I've got my little meter, I want to make sure that it looks okay. It does. I hope it sounds okay. If you guys can let me know. Glenn says good morning from Utah. Peter is here as well. Vaz says afternoon. Sound video is good. Sounds good here. Good morning. Says Ben. Ben is a new name. Glad to have you here. Have not seen you in the chat before. So thanks for hanging out on your Sunday. I'm assuming it's Sunday where you are still. I don't know if I guess it's possible that it's tomorrow, depending on where you are. But of course, it would still be today for you. Anyway, thanks for joining. Appreciate having you here. Always happy to see new faces and existing faces as well in Texas. Okay, so just south of me, not too bad. Hanging out stage to go home tomorrow for 5 days. Wow, that's a big vacation for you, man. That's awesome. I'm glad you're getting some time at home. Oh man, I have for the last 2 days been working on setting up a file server. I've been kind of on a file server kick lately since we started talking about Nextcloud a while back, and OwnCloud and C file with EuroOffice has kind of got me. It's kind of got me on a kick for file servers, and I found one that I kind of like and I kind of hate simultaneously, and I'm trying to get it to work properly so that I can have a little file server set up, just to say that I've got a little file server set up. So I think that'll be fun once I've got all of the little bugs and kinks worked out of that. May of course do a video about it because why not? But it's actually kind of over on my floor. Over here next to the rack. So I've been kicking that around for the last couple of days. Originally I was going to put it on a Zima blade, but that made me want to punch myself in the face. And then I was going to put it. Well. Okay, so originally I was going to put it on this, this made me want to punch myself in the face. And then I was going to put it on this, but this seemed way overkill. This is like 12 volts, 5 amps, and this just seemed overkill for what I wanted. I wanted something smaller like this, which I know, but still, it's more than twice the size. Also, I found out this doesn't have Wi-Fi built into it. So I had to figure out a solution for that ended up costing me $25 that I'm not going to use. So right now it's running on a Raspberry Pi 5, and that's going well. Mostly, I've got some more testing to do, but I think it's getting there, and that's exciting. So that'll probably be the video for this week, is talking about that little project. And I think somewhere behind the curtain back there, I've got a Raspberry Pi 5 case that I'm going to put it in, because right now it's just the bare board sitting on my floor over there. Let's see. Ben says used to regularly watch Open Media Vault videos. That's awesome. That's been a while. I've started doing the Open Media Vault videos again, but they're not doing well at all. So I'm trying to find a balance between tutorials, news, and gadgetry, because I've got some more gadgets coming in that I'm kind of excited about. I've also got a new rack coming in soon. I've been chatting with the folks at SysRacks. They reached out to me here recently, and this 27U is basically full, and I don't like that. So they're sending me a 37U. So it'll be taller, and that'll be something. But I'm still waiting on getting shipping confirmation on all of that. We've been going back and forth for about a week. So they're going to send me a 37U to replace the 27U, but then they're also going to send me a 12U soundproof. Oh, excuse me. And that's going to go under my desk in the living room, so that all of my gear in there can live in a little spot. It doesn't need to be soundproof, but they want me to check out the soundproof, so that's what I'm going to do. So like, it's weird. Like, they reached out to me about the soundproof, and I was like, that's cool, but like, they come in like 12, like only a few different sizes, like, and they're all very small, which I get because it's expensive. But I was like, I need something bigger than a 27. And they're like, oh yeah, we can't do that. But if you want to check out the 12U soundproof, we'll send you the 37U for it. Like, I don't know if that's like my payment, but I'm stoked about it. It's always nice to get a new rack that I can tear all of this apart and rebuild for like the 11th time, and hopefully, get it looking nicer again. So we'll see how that goes. I'm kind of excited about that. I've got a couple other things on the way that I'm excited about as well, that I think will be a lot of fun. But again, still waiting on shipping, because some of the stuff I'm getting is like hand-built stuff, which I always love. But yeah, so anyway, all of that is to say that I'm trying to find a balance between the tutorials, whether it's Open Media Vault or, file servers or Docker containers or whatever, and gadgets and that sort of thing, just to kind of try to keep, everybody happy. I don't know how else to put it, because like the tutorials weren't doing well at all. They usually don't do well as far as views and new subscribers are concerned. I know there's a smaller group of dedicated fans or whatever who watch whatever I put out, which I super love you guys for. But I also need more than 1,000 views so I can keep paying my bills, right? So I'm trying to find other ways that I can keep things growing and moving and getting the views up and that sort of thing. So still trying to find that balance is what I'm getting at. So let's see. Lemon Zest is here. Glad to have you. Jason says, hello. Glad to have you here, Jason. Glenn says, you should see the pile of hardware I got for something, then change directions, and now it just sits there mocking me. Bro, I get that so much. Like, I pulled all this out to work on a project, and now I've gone a completely different direction with it. Now I got to put all this away. I got to put this card back together with the bracket, and I know it's not much, but it's sure something that I still got to do once I get this file server built and up and running appropriately. So yeah, that's what's going on there. Andrea says, waves from Germany. Glad to have you. JD's here. Awesome. I've been thinking about putting some soundproof panels on my open 4-post rack. That seems like an interesting idea. 'Cause like, it's open. So are you going to like basically close it with sound panels? I guess is my question. 'Cause like, this is normally a closed rack, but all of my panels are stacked over here on the side, 'cause I've been having to dig around in there a lot for different reasons. So that's why my rack is currently open, is because it needs to be for what I've been working on. But tutorials are good if you need to set something up. That's one thing, but it's great to get news and know what's going on out there. Yeah, and that was, Glenn, that was kind of my thought as well. But somebody in one of the comments on a recent video said something that was accurate, but it still bummed me out. They made the comment that they liked the tutorials better because all of the news lately has been kind of doom and gloom, and they're not wrong. Like there are follow-up videos that I would like to make with regards to like the router ban. There are updates to the router ban. You know, the recent, or the video that I did the other day about how GitHub is effectively an attack vector now. You know, as far as like GitHub Actions and those sorts of things being what bad actors are targeting. And it's unfortunate that like the news right now with Homelab stuff is mostly doom and gloom. Like even the Euro Office video that was kind of newsy as far as something new coming out caused a lot of us versus them in the comments. Like even people who are big fans of Nextcloud were very anti or very against EuroOffice, even though Nextcloud is the one building EuroOffice. And it just seems like a weird dichotomy of things that I'm still trying to figure out and sort through. Mental is here. Nighthawk is here. Glad to have you both, of course. Put them on each side to see if it helps with sound at all. The rack is in my room. That's fair. I would almost think about putting them closest to wherever your fans are. Obviously, don't block your airflow, but like if you've got fans on the front, I might put a panel in front. If you've got exhaust fans, I might put one back behind there, so that sound gets basically sucked in or blown into the sound panels. I think just putting like all of my stuff is blow straight through. So putting panels on the sides wouldn't really, it might help a little bit. But I think putting it closest to wherever your fans are, is probably the better way to go. Occasionally buffering today. That's gotta be on your side, Glenn. Oh, Jan, thank you so much for gifting a membership. That was really nice of you. Thank you. DM Brownlee says, howdy. Glad to have you here. Always happy to have people hanging out in the chat. So thank you very much. That's what makes the news videos even more valuable at this time. That's true. The problem is that, and it was one of the things I was honestly concerned about when I started doing the news stuff, is that it would turn into a lot of doom and gloom. So I've still got to figure out a balance of call it doom and gloom or news or whatever, but a balance of that style of content and the tutorials, because that's what my channel is known for, is the tutorials, and then of course some hardware stuff. And the hardware is honestly, a good chunk of that is mostly for me, but not all of it, because there's some of it that's coming that I'm real excited about, that I think other people will be excited about. One of them is another, it's not an Alaris, but it's kind of the same idea, just very, very different in its execution. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I've been drinking soda to deal with my stomach. Anyway, so I'm real excited about some of the hardware stuff that's coming down the pipeline. You know, even aside from, you know, the new racks that are coming, and that sort of thing, there's some fun stuff coming that I'm looking forward to, and I hope you guys will check it out as well. Let's see. Fans aren't the issue, just noises, hard drives, vibrations. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Just adjusted the Starlink receiver a bit. Got to make a mount for it while I'm home. Now that would do it. Open Noodle says, enjoy your channel. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm definitely trying. I'm trying to find content that I think people will enjoy, that I will also enjoy making. And that's something else too that I wanted to, like, okay. Linus does this thing, right, that I kind of hate. But I get why he does it, right? Linus of Linus Tech Tips, right? Like, he'll be working on a project. He'll be whatever the project is. There's always that. I'm pretty sure that not all of this is going to make it into the final edit. So for the full thing, go over to lmgg/floatplane or whatever, right? And I've got obviously Patreon, and I've got channel memberships. Like, as I'm fighting with this server, for instance, right? Is that something you guys would find entertaining for me to rant about in the Patreon and channel member? Like, would it be worth me making additional content that is just me bitching about how this is kicking my ass, even though it shouldn't, because I'm not this stupid? Would that make content, or good enough content, that you guys would watch it on, like I said, channel memberships and Patreon? That's something I've been kicking around a little bit, because like there's all kinds of stuff I could be filming, but I don't want to. I don't know. I want to make sure that you guys would be interested in that. Okay, so JD says, yeah, I'd watch it. Open Noodle says for sure. Jason Budney says, I like hearing about the bad news, just needs to be presented in a level-headed way, and how to fix or mitigate the issue. And I've been trying to do some of that, Jason. I've been trying to just present the facts as they are, as I can prove them, and leave a lot of the editorialization out of it. Like, there were a couple of times where I was talking about they were doing this, and 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 I was like, and these guys suck. But I'm trying to just present the facts and keep the editorialization out of it. Like, my opinion isn't the focal point here, and that's something I've been struggling with as well, because I want it to be the facts, but I don't know how much of my opinion I should be interjecting into these news stories. Also, I want to keep it short. Like, I don't want to turn into a situation where, my content is an hour and a half long, like Gamers Nexus likes to do, or maybe doesn't like to do, but it happens. And that's why, like, in the videos, I try to give the facts as they are, and some tips on things you can do to help mitigate some of that. So yeah, anyway, I don't know. That's just me rambling, I guess. But you guys say you would watch some of that behind the scenes stuff, if I were to make that. So that's good to know. Because typically what happens, right? Let's say I'm over here where I've got other cameras and lights, and I might be working on something. If something goes wrong, I delete that footage and I start over. Because that's just what I've been doing forever. Because all of the mistakes, like I will always try to. So I've got this hair, it's bugging the crap out of me. Like, I always try to be like, okay, like, this is how it worked, but I ran into some issues, and here's how I fixed it. But maybe saving that footage and turning it into something else might be good. And that seems to be the general consensus that I'm getting here. Jason, thank you for that. I genuinely appreciate somebody saying that. It says, as I'm getting older, tech seems to kick my butt more and more. Yeah, man, so much. Mistakes and lessons learned are valuable, but negative commentary isn't helpful. That's true. But sometimes negative things are going to pop through if we want, honest coverage of, me trying to get this file server to work, using that as an example. Sometimes there's going to be some negative commentary in there about, WTF and why the hell and that sort of thing. So yeah, okay. Look, I think that's helpful. As far as me maybe finding a different way to attack some of this. Glassy603 says, hello, David. How are you today? I'm doing okay. I'm kind of tired, if I'm honest. Like, my eyes keep trying to, like, fight me today, and I don't know why. Like, I think I got a solid 8 hours last night. They were chemically induced hours, but that seems to be how my brain works lately. Like, if I don't take my nighttime meds, man, I just don't sleep. And we're getting ready to switch my nighttime meds again, so I'll see how that goes. But Glenn says, admit it. We all have negative commentary when we're trying to get something to work. Yeah, absolutely. I've been up since like 5 or 5:30 this morning trying to get this file server thing to work. And like I said, I was originally going to put it on this, but it just kept rebooting. And now that I think about it, I think I know why. No, never mind. Because as I was trying to put Diet Pi on this, because there is an x86 version of Diet Pi, and this is an x86 platform, it asked me where I wanted to install, and I told it to put it on the eMMC chip for this. But as soon as I did that and unplugged the boot drive, or the Diet Pi boot drive to install it, it wouldn't boot anymore. And I got to tell you, that's super frustrating when you spend like an hour and a half dicking with that. And again, I was going to try this, but then I realized I don't know where my power supply for this is, so I'll have to order a different one because it's like 12 volts, 4 amps, and I don't have something like that laying around. I don't think. I'll have to find or do some more searching. I don't know. But I think this would be fun to build something with. Like they sent it to me, and I made a video about it. It's like a server that'll fit in your pocket. And then it's just been sitting on my desk, and that bums me out because it's a beast of a machine. Like look at those ports. Oh, Anyway, yeah, it's got 3 RJ45s and 2 SFP Plus ports. So I should do something with this, but I don't know what, and that's frustrating. It's literally just been sitting on my desk for years. Glenn says, yeah, I anticipate a lot of colorful language when I try to get Android going on a Raspberry Pi this weekend. That's fair. The Wi-Fi sucks on it, but the 10G is great. That's good to know. Like I said, I literally just made a video about it and put it on my desk. And it's been sitting on my desk this way for the USB ports, because I've got a decorative thing I've got plugged in there that just sits on my desk. And it's a beefy little machine for as small as it is, and it should be doing something practical. Jason says, constructive criticism is always good, but outright negativity, nastiness, not so much. The issues coming up in projects and my inner truck driver comes out in full. That's fair. Yeah, I truly believe that to be fair. Sometimes things that should work don't, and you can do it 10 times and it won't, but the 11th time it will, and then the 12th time it won't. And that always causes a lot of swearing on my end. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But again, I don't want to. You say as truck drivers curse a lot. I've never known a truck driver that didn't curse a lot. But anyway, I'll have to figure out and see what I can come up with as far as a balance. Because again, I don't want to just have to push people to. I still want my main content to be entertaining or informational or whatever, but I don't necessarily want all of the good stuff, all of the bloopers or whatever I don't necessarily want to push people over to memberships or whatever, like Linus has done. And that's not a dig at Linus. It's a revenue source for him, right? There we go. Linus Tech Tips. Because when I go, and I'm sure you guys have seen this, if we go to my desktop, as we scroll, there ends up being a lot, and it's not as bad right now. There seems to be a lot of members-only content, and I don't want to do that. I don't mind making members-only content or Patreon/members-only content. But again, I want to find that balance, because I feel like my mental health is doing well enough that I should be able to I should be able to create additional content. Um, but yeah, and JD said they also put things on Floatplane that can't go into YouTube due to YouTube TOS, and that's true. And see, and that sucks because the only other option I've got is Patreon. Like I've applied for Floatplane three separate times, and I've never heard back from anybody. So so I don't have that other place to put things other than Patreon. And I put stuff on Patreon that I can't put on YouTube, and I haven't had any issues yet. But I think it's a fairly fine line to walk, because I don't want to lose Patreon, because it's not a huge amount of money, but it's a couple $100 a month. Um, so excuse me. So I just got to figure out a balance, and that's going to take me forever because I know how I am. Oh, hold on, sorry. Oh, yeah, and that's kind of what I was trying to show there, JD, when we were scrolling over here, is that, and like I said, it's not as bad now. It's every like 3 or 4 videos. Yes, it's like every 3 or 4 videos, but there for a while. Yeah, like here we go. Now it's these 3 and 1, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12, 15, 17 videos in a row 2 months ago are all members only. And then there's 1, and then there's 6, 9, and then 1, and then 5, 8, 11, 14. Like, yeah, so I don't want to do that, right? Like, and again, it's not to dig on them at all, but I don't want to do that. Um, um, let's see. Did you get any further with OpenClaw? I did. I shut it down. I got really angry and I shut it down. Like the HL15 is powered off. I was so angry and so frustrated and hated myself so much in that moment that I just powered it off. I was done. I didn't want to deal with it anymore. I am of the belief right now that self-hosted AI is the biggest waste of time, unless you've got a 5090 or something with a ton of RAM. Because if you got 8 gigs of RAM, you can't even search the internet. And I think that's the dumbest thing in the world. And I'm fed up with it. I'm tired of it. Like when I was trying to get OpenClaw running using a local setup, so angry, almost in tears. Like not sad, but hating myself so much for how stupid I felt in that period of time that I felt it was better for my mental health to just power it off. I was so angry because I have seen some of the people out there who can barely tie their shoes building these huge projects that do these amazing things, and I can't even get OpenClaw to work at all. And that hurts my ego more than just about anything has ever hurt my ego in my life. So yeah, that's where I am with self-hosted AI. I think it is a big waste of time, energy, and money. It's just not something that I can get behind at this point. Also, I've spent 2 weeks trying to find a Mac Mini that I can pick up, and Best Buy doesn't have them in stock anymore. Best Buy Mac Mini M4. Guitar Center has them. That's stupid. But I don't even know if this is in the right area. But like even on their online, stop. It's like, hey, here it is for $600, but it's unavailable. And like everything on these is unavailable, just unavailable. And like there have been a couple of times where it's like, well, cool, then tell me, like, notify me when it's available. No, can't do that. So I think I am officially done with self-hosted AI until something radically changes. There's, at this point, to my knowledge, there is nothing that when you're using something like ChatGPT or Claude or even Grok or whatever, right? Nothing you can self-host can compete with that. There is no feasible way for a self-hosted instance of AI to compete with Claude right now. There just isn't, right? So I'm only paying Claude, let's say $25 a month, right? Because I pay for the Pro version because I use Claude quite a bit. And then I've got some API stuff that I pay like maybe $5 a month. So for $25 a month, that would be what, 4 months to make $100, and then 6 months. So it would 2 years of paying for Claude, or $600 for a Mac Mini. And that's kind of the logic or the reasoning that where I am right now as far as AI is concerned. I understand the societal implications of using a service like Claude, right? I understand, energy use. I understand water use. I understand those things. I also understand that that there is a 0% chance that even if every person who is subscribed to DB Tech, even if every one of them stopped using AI indefinitely, it would make no difference. AI isn't going anywhere. AI is going to continue to get better. Today is the worst it will ever be again. And so it's kind of a, if you can't beat them, join them situation, and that sucks. But I think that's where we are right now in society, is that AI is here to stay. And there's nothing we can do to change that. There's no movement that will convince enough people to stop using AI to make an impact. Yeah, voice, that's kind of what I'm getting at. If enough people unite for something, it does make a difference. But there are 8 billion people in the world, and you would have to convince half of them or more to stop using AI. Right? And some people using AI don't realize they're using AI. Think about okay, so think about like your parents, your grandparents, people in their 50s, 60s, 70s, who get onto Facebook, and there's the Manus AI, and there's whatever there's, Facebook has 2 different AIs, right? And let's say they upload a picture of themselves, and Facebook is like, hey, you could do something fun by clicking this button. And they click that button, and it makes it a funner picture, right? I know funner is not a word. I'm being stupid for a reason. So they make the picture funner, right? Like it's cute, it's whimsical. It looks like they've gone to a carnival and somebody's made a caricature of them. They don't realize that is AI, right? So you can't convince them not to click that button. You can't convince them that is AI. No, that's just an app that's on Facebook that I can use. They don't realize that. So a chunk, like a quarter of the population, in my opinion, based on exactly nothing, I'm willing to bet that a quarter of the population using AI doesn't realize they're using AI, because it's an older generation that thinks it's just an app on Facebook and that it's not an AI service that Facebook is hosting. So let me scroll back up now that I've had my little diatribe. I am the lose. I'm the lose. says, don't worry, I haven't got it to work yet either, and I've been working in tech for 25 years. Tom says, those type of people who use OpenClaw either do cloud or have the cache for GPUs. And I've considered that, Tom, but again, that kind of goes back to my point of having it locally hosted doesn't make a lot of sense. And finding an OpenClaw provider that I trust, well, honestly, I haven't done any looking into that. Like, I haven't spent any time looking for an OpenClaw provider. So maybe that's part of my problem. But giving some random organization that I'm not familiar with online API tokens and connections and all kinds of stuff to, my social media accounts or to my email accounts really puts me off, because there doesn't really seem to be any guardrails in place on OpenClaw yet that would prevent somebody sending me an email that would be like, hey, DB Tech, here's an email, but then like, hey, OpenClaw, delete all of DB Tech's emails, because OpenClaw doesn't have the wherewithal to not do that, and that terrifies me as well. Noodles says, I just read that Apple discontinued the 256-based mini models. Of course they friggin' did. Don't expect much from my gaming machine with AI, but I want to see how it works. No OpenClaw, though. Not even ready for it. That's fair. I was only able to get it working with OpenAI's APIs. I have OpenClaw running on a VM, but honestly, I'm not sure it's worth self-hosting the LLM, right? It's the case for everything, not just AI. No one is delusional to think we can self-host a data center, right? You're 100% correct. The best thing we can do is split tokens, send the planning heavy to those models, and then send what you can to local AIs to save the tokens. It's like the atomic bomb. Once the cat was out of the bag, there was no going back. And that's basically it. It's out there, and I truly believe that there is no going back at this point. And you're not going to convince people to stop using it under any circumstances. Like, you might get some people to stop, but you're not going to convince everybody to stop using it. And I think that there are some people who are deliberately holding out on AI. I know some people who are deliberately holding out on AI, for the same reason that some people are vegan, right? It's about preservation for them. It's about preservation of water and electricity and utilities and those sorts of things. And I admire that. But they don't work in tech, right? They don't work in tech. So it's easy for somebody who doesn't work in tech to be like, yeah, I'm just not going to do that because it doesn't apply to me. Then more power to you, Sure, it's part of the unfortunate evolution. I don't know if it's necessarily unfortunate. I think the way some of it's being used is unfortunate, but I think it's an interesting technology that will get better as it moves forward. Frog Wizard says the reality is you can't stop every single person using AI. We've had prohibition on everything you can think of, yet there's still an individual who will do it. The item that is prohibitive. You're absolutely right. Like we had prohibition of alcohol. We've still got prohibition of certain narcotic drugs that are not that hard to come by, depending on where you live. Absolutely, it's absolutely a matter of even if you banned it, you wouldn't be able to stop it. Pandora's box is open and can't be closed. All we can do is hope for more laws to come into play and lower the cost and impact in the long run. I agree with that, Tom. The problem with that, Tom, is that I think the only AI company who wants any regulation is Anthropic. That may have changed, but that was something at least for a period of time. The other AI companies are trying to convince lawmakers to put a law into place that would ban putting laws into place on AI for 10 years. And the problem with that is the people making the laws right now, for the most part, are an older generation who don't understand little things like the dumb questions that they asked, like with TikTok. If I open this app, does it connect to my Wi-Fi to get online? Yeah, you dumb SOB. What do you think it's doing, right? And these are the people that are in charge of making laws about technology, and they have no concept of the slightest little bit of technology. And and they tend to outnumber the people who do understand the technology and the lawmaking aspect of things. So the people that are like, hey, this is a bad idea, get outvoted by the dumb old people who are getting paid millions and millions of dollars to not put laws in place that would do the things we need to do to make it a better place overall. And it sucks. It sucks that we can actually buy politicians for the wrong reasons. And I know buying a politician across the board is wrong, but we can be like, hey, I'm gonna give you a yacht and private vacations to wherever you want to go, but I need you to make sure that you don't write any laws to govern this thing that I'm doing. That's a thing that happens and nobody's stopping it, and it sucks. Windows is trying to put their AI into every application now. Even opening the Android Outlook app, now the first thing I'm seeing is wanting me to chat. That sucks, Glenn. What will throttle AI the most and to an almost halt is once the money circle dries out, once the private investors start losing patience. And that's the bubble, man. That's the bubble we're all hoping for, so that data centers will offload the hardware that should have gone to the consumers in the first place. But I don't know that that's going to happen anytime soon. There are people out there. There was a team or a person or a something that used several different AIs to build a compiler that took, a team of hundreds of people 20 years to build. This guy did for like 20 grand in tokens in a couple of weeks. And if we can have that level of actual productivity with AI, I don't think that that's going to even be an issue either. Frog Wizard says, I use OpenClaw and use less than $1 a day. I've opted to use the least expensive options. My OpenClaw is hosted on my Raspberry Pi. Yeah, I use Claude, like I said, and my API tokens are like pennies a day. So like I'm spending less than $1 a day on Claude, and I love Claude. Like I've been using Claude for a couple of months now, and I'm really, really happy with it. It's been helping me quite a bit getting some stuff sorted out with code and that sort of thing. So gosh, I wonder. Sorry, I had an idea, something I wanted to show you guys that I came up with the other day, but I'll have to think about where it is. Man, I don't remember where it is. Man, I'll have to come up with it somewhere else. Maybe it'll be a members only kind of thing, a video where I just demonstrate something that I built the other day. Let's see. OpenClaw will run on a mini PC or even a VM. The Alumma part is where it goes wrong. Putting your API in something like Claude or OpenAI lets it work fine. JD says, for my position, I either adapt and learn it or become a farmer, right? Trojan Morris is here. Glad to have you. Whoa, that was a bad scroll. AI has pushed the use of unified memory PCs. That's what I think we're seeing with PCs, like 128 gig systems. I would love to have a unified memory system. And I think even Windows is trying to do some of that. I think we talked about it a little bit. Whoa. Last week. No, stop. Geez, man, hold on. It's something that I noticed in my terminal, or my task manager the other day. So like this system has 32 gigs of RAM, right? I don't know why it is. Wow, this is stupid. Anyway, okay, so memory, 32 gigs of RAM. We can see what's cached. We can see what's available. But here we can see like this is an 8 gig card. This is an RTX 2070, but it's like, here's the 8 gigs of dedicated memory, but here's 14 gigs of shared memory for a combined total of 22.4 gigs of memory. Like even Windows on a very basic setup here is trying to do unified memory when this memory is not built for that. And that sucks. I don't understand why they're trying to do that. Maybe you guys are smarter than me and can tell me what's going on there. Vibe codes and encryption. That's pretty funny. It's also like any technology. It's not the technology that is the concern. It's the individual who uses it for either good or bad. I agree with that, Frog Wizard. We have to be careful that for the tech is not for the select few. The tech itself concerns me no matter who uses it. It's giving right and wrong answers on a coin flip basis. That is true. God damn it, this hair. Politicians should be like NASCARs. They should have to wear stickers on their jackets saying who's sponsoring them and paying them. I 100% agree with that, Vaz. 100%. But the problem is that the lobbyists would lobby for that to not be a thing, or they would lobby to be disingenuous about it, right? Because that's how the government works. With enough money, you can have anything passed that shouldn't be, and that's stupid. AI built into toilet paper, that's the future, probably. Frog Wizard said, I would also suggest a few things that'll happen when an LLM is good enough to find the knowledge, and it's not the biggest. Turbo quant similar advances will make it easier to run locally. That's a lot of words that I don't necessarily understand, but I think if you're talking about like quantized models, I think you're probably right. But one of the things that I've noticed is like when I'm using Claude to help me write a script or to reorganize a script that I've written so that it makes more sense and it flows better, right? I can say, hey, Claude, here, I need you to fix this. Ask me some questions, that sort of thing. It will rationalize other things into the equation. It will rationalize other questions I hadn't thought about. And I haven't seen self-hosted AI do that yet. I'm not saying that it can't. I'm just saying I've never seen self-hosted AI take the additional step to rationally ask additional questions to qualify additional things. It's like it's a give and take. It's like ask a question, get an answer. Ask a question, get an answer, and it's a very transactional thing. Whereas again, Claude GPT, they can imply things, they can infer things, they can ask additional qualifying questions to make it a better experience. The average person is just using it as a friend. I even find myself thinking of it as my friend sometimes. Glenn, I get that. I absolutely do. I will absolutely share information with Claude that I'm excited about because it may end up impacting something else later on. As far as a conversation or qualification or quantification of another part of a conversation we might have later on. So 100%. I see a Zima board in the back. Is it legacy or something? So I've actually got 2 of them. Well spotted. Hold on, I'll show you. Come on. So I've actually got 2. I've got the Zima blade or Zima board. That's the first gen. Will it? There it goes. Yeah. So there's the first gen that I've had forever. I've actually got 3 of these. I've got 2 in green and 1 in orange. I got an early model, and I think that's the orange one. And then I've got the Zima board 2, which is I was thinking about doing something with this. I actually had a GPU plugged into it yesterday, just checking some stuff out. But they just sit around. And again, I feel like a dick because they just sit around. Voice says, am I the only one concerned that AI as a tech is right, wrong on a coin flip basis? If a calculator at 1+3 or 1+1=3, everyone would lose their mind. Everyone is fine with AI spitting BS daily. I agree with that. And it's the way that it rationalizes the question that's very often the problem. And that's the problem with AI, is that it is regurgitating information based on a flow pattern that it expects, not what's actually necessarily true. It's why if you ask, and maybe they've fixed it, it's why for a while if you asked AI how many R's are in strawberry, it would tell you 2, even though there are 3. It would only recognize 2 of them. And yeah, you're not wrong. We get a lot of that, and that's why when I'm doing research, I'm asking Claude to help me with research. I very much expect it, and it knows at this point, which is interesting. It knows that if it can't give me a URL for something that it has said to validate what it has said, I don't want it. Like if it doesn't have, but basically I ask it for bibliography on everything that it tells me, because I need to be able to cross-reference to make sure it's 100% accurate. Because if I try to put something in a video and I find out later that it was wrong or it was misinformation, then that makes me look bad. So by the time my videos are done, I've got a full bibliography of every data point in the video to make sure that my videos are accurate. And it's all about the way that you interact with AI and the way you ask it questions and the way you demand that it do certain things. Casamoru says, jokes aside, local model power lies in the ability to train them. I don't disagree with that. I would love to have enough GPU power and VRAM to give it all of my videos and like all of my scripts and all of my social media posts so that it could become me digitally to help me automate certain things like social media posts, to help me write scripts better. Like I would love to have that level of compute power so that I could build a virtual version of me based on my online presence as it currently exists. That would be, I would need to clean myself if I had that level of ability to do something. Glenn says I was going to order a $1,700 Mac Mini to put a llama on. Then I saw that OpenClaw is using most 50 cents a day in tokens. Yeah, that's the logic I was talking about earlier, Glenn, 100%. AI is a vending machine right now, sort of. Yep, you're not wrong, Lemon Zest. Mr. Grey Wolf's here. Glad to have you here. I've been listening for a bit, but finally found my keyboard. Dude, I get it. That's why I'm glad all my keyboards are wired, because I would lose it if I didn't have that. Sorry, going back to the Zima blades, Zima boards, Zima cubes, everything Zima is x86. Yep. The Zima board 2 looks slick. You know, I agree that it's an industrial look, but I like the first iteration better. Like I might actually paint this to look more like this. I think that would be a fun project. But if I'm even more honest, sorry, we're bouncing around a lot today. That's satiating my ADHD today. I really like the look of this. Will it focus? So I got to bring it way in, see if it'll focus now. No. Anyway, I like kind of the cyberpunk aesthetic of the Zima blade. But I don't know. I might paint the Zima Q or the Zima board 2 to have a different aesthetic. Tom says, I only use AI for my voice assistant to help me with automations and for a scraper to find docs on my files. That's fair. Nothing more than that is local only. I'm glad I'm not the only one frustrated with local AI setup. And my LM Studio is decent, but way more other things I've used. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I recall a lot of services you host are Docker containers with Proxmox setup. With the SBCs do you ever install test on Metal itself? Sometimes. In fact, the last 2 live streams, We're on the HL15 that you can't really see down there. That was all like we threw Ubuntu server on that. We threw Docker on it. Like we've done some bare metal stuff. But most everything I do is containerized with LXCs and Docker and VMs, that sort of thing. So that if something does go wrong, I've got a backup from this morning. Like all my backups run every day overnight. So if something goes wrong, if I bork something, I can restore to just a few hours ago. And that's why I do everything in a VM or an LXC, is because I'm not as smart as I present sometimes. And I need to be able to roll back to before I did a stupid thing. And LXCs and VMs are a great way to do that for me. I've always called it machine intelligence instead of artificial intelligence. It's not true. Well, and you're not. Oh, Brian, Red, is that you? That's hi. If that's who I think it is, that's a good friend of mine who lives in Utah. Yeah. So artificial intelligence and machine intelligence, same thing. Until we start getting into what is it, artificial general intelligence, AGI. Yep, it's me. Awesome. Red, thank you so much for hanging out. This is one of my ranty days. I'm having a ranty day. We're not doing anything super technical. I'm just bitching about whatever pops up. And having conversations with you guys, obviously. But yeah, so AGI, I don't think we're there yet. I think we're getting closer. But I think the first few AGI systems are going to require some level of quantum computing that's going to put it out of the realm of the general consumer for a long time. But I agree, Red. It is machine intelligence. It is just regurgitating the information that it's been programmed, and it's doing very little actual thinking of its own, especially when it's self-hosted. Local AI versus against something like Claude or GPT or something where it can infer different things and ask questions to quantify what its next answer might be. JD says you can't compare the paid models to what you run as a normal person. Even on the DGX Spark, you're still not getting the same performance as Son. I agree. And that's why I've kind of just decided to give up on self-hosted AI for the time being. Like, like I had something set up for like Olama, for my Home Assistant, and I may bring that back up. But in order to do that, I would probably go with something small like this. Yeah. Oh, this doesn't have the back cut out of it. Damn. So anyway, I would probably go with something like this and this put together. I've got a cable that I can plug these in together with. That I would probably set this up for local AI for Home Assistant. I've been doing some fun things with some Home Assistant stuff lately that may become another video in itself. But I would probably set up Olama for that again. But beyond that, I'm probably done with self-hosted AI. AI is a prediction on probability math to create accurately close. Yeah, that's a really good way to put that, Frog Wizard. That's what I was trying to get out earlier, but I wasn't explaining it as well. Question about Claude AI. Can you delete conversations? I've been using Gemini via Workspace. I found I can't delete chats even as an admin. Yeah, you absolutely can. With Claude, you can absolutely delete conversations. And they've actually added memory. So if you're familiar with OpenClaw, right? OpenClaw kind of, as you use it more, it gets smarter based on what I've been led to believe, because it's got something called a soul or a souls.md file that builds a profile on you and what you expect and all these different things, right? And that's what makes it such a great tool when you can get it to work right. Claude just added something similar where it will take all of your conversations and build a profile on you to have more in-depth and meaningful conversations with you as you're doing things. And that's been super helpful. That's only been within the last couple of weeks. And I love that quite a bit. Three, two, one backup is the golden rule. Yeah, that's going back a bit, but yeah, I agree. Sometimes sitting down and chatting is awesome. I agree. AI in space is the goal. Probably not too far off from that. Um, AI in space is the dumbest idea. The one who spread this idea has no idea about how thermodynamics works. That's pretty funny. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't think we should take AI out of the atmosphere just yet until it's better than it currently is. It's like when they tried to take Outlook out to go to the moon, and even it failed. So I don't think we should be using things like that out there, because there's just, and Outlook's been around for what, like 30 years or something, and they still can't get it right. Like, I'm so glad that I don't have to use Outlook for anything these days. I don't understand how they can make a product so bad for so long that nobody wants to use it. That's what I'm saying, JD. That's what I'm saying. To be fair, Outlook doesn't work on Earth either. The space is mainly vacuum, so it's an extreme insulation and the zero thermal dissipation. AI run spaceship might land on a hallucinatory moon. Wouldn't that be a bitch? Like, you're like, hey, AI, take me to the moon, and it's just like going somewhere else. Are you going to try to use SteamOS when it comes out? I 100% am, Red. Mrs. DB Tech has been chomping at the bit, or champing at the bit is actually technically correct. Has been really wanting something like that. She's tired of Windows. She's still on Windows 10. We still have not upgraded her to 11 yet. But she very much would like to have SteamOS, because like she doesn't do anything with her system other than browse the internet and play video games. Right. And that's not a dig at her. That's what she does is she plays video games, and she checks, email and pays bills online. And SteamOS should absolutely be able to handle those things. I think the only issue that she might run into would be with Teams. I don't know anything about how Teams would work in a situation like that, because she still needs that for work sometimes. Thing about OpenCloud, you don't need to create hardware for it to run on its own. It's totally usable when paired with cloud AI APIs, even from just a VM. I believe that. And I started to go down that route, but then I was like, to what end? Like, why get OpenClaw involved at that point? Like, I haven't even had OpenClaw up and running enough to figure out how to use it, because every time I start to get somewhere, it's like, this failed. Oh no, you can't get into your dashboard. That failed. Telegram's not going to connect. That failed. And like I've spent probably a week of my time. Like, if you were to take all the little chunks, probably a week or more of my time just dicking with that, trying to get it to work, and it doesn't. And that's super frustrating. Again, when I see some of the dumbest people alive creating things and doing things and automating things with it, and me being of at least moderate intelligence, completely incapable of getting it to work, blows my mind, makes me want to punch myself in the nose. AI, take me to the moon. A few hours later, we're getting ready to land on the sun, right? I was joking about AI data center satellite out in space, not AI in space travel. Oh, I gotcha. I've not tried OpenClaw yet, but by the time I do, it'll be yesterday's news, right? And that's where I don't want to be. Like, I want to have an understanding of it and how to use it and how it works. But I can't seem to find the tutorials that I keep finding are, look at this really amazing thing that I did. Not here's an idiot's guide how to set it up and use it appropriately. I can't seem to find that idiot's guide that I need to get started. Like, once I get past the idiot's guide part, I'll be fine. But I can't find an idiot's guide on how to make it work. And that hurts my ego. And I don't like to have my ego hurt. So I've just walked away from it for the time being. With OpenClaw, you need to pick one single job at a time, get it working. In some instances, you can just tell it do X and it might get it right. When it doesn't, try again. One thing at a time. Dude, I have asked Claude. Believe me, I've asked Claude. And maybe I'm not asking Claude the right thing, but I am at my wit's end asking Claude about how to get OpenClaw to work. It's the most infuriating thing, and I don't know. You mean Techno-Tim hasn't done an OpenClaw video yet? You know, fair question. I don't know. I don't think he has. I haven't seen YouTube. Maybe he has. One of the things, like, I love Techno-Tim. I really do. But a lot of his videos are, look at this cool thing I did without getting into the minutia of how he did it. And that works very, very well for his audience. But I'm looking, I'm not seeing anything about it as far as OpenClaw here. But a lot of his stuff is very high level. Look at this cool thing I did. Look at this cool thing I built. And that's sometimes I need an idiot's guide to breathing. So you can't ask, hold on you can't ask Claude the wrong thing. It's artificial intelligence is supposed to get what you mean. Yeah, it's supposed to. AI in space. Sorry, Dave, I can't do that. That's basically, yeah, a Space Odyssey 2001. Got a 96 gigs of RAM, 90 RX 7900 XTX machine. Barely use it thanks to cloud models, but I'm holding on to it, hoping that ROC and AMD support matures. Weird times. At least I get back into gaming. So that, yeah. My wife's got I think a 6700, a 7600 XT with 16 gigs of RAM. It's a beast of a gaming machine. Love that for her. And like I've got an Alaris One set up that's got 96 gigs of RAM, and it's got a mobile 5090 with 24 gigs of VRAM. And of course, with the thing that Microsoft is trying to do with its own unified system, I don't even know. Like, it's trying to give it like 48 gigs of RAM or something, even though it's not that much. When Jeff Geerling does it, I'll try it. That's fair. With AI, you need to know how to ask it. It's very literal. You might say, yeah, and that's just it. Like I think I'm missing something. Like, cool. So I've got this dashboard that sometimes I can get into, and it's connected to an AI. But then I've got to figure out how to connect it to all of these other things and tell it to go do something. Like I don't understand the logic flow that works on it. And again, I need that idiot's guide to how to do that. And I haven't found it. If somebody finds it, please come over to the Discord and share the idiot's guide to setting up OpenClaw. Because I would watch that video 8 or 10 or 12 times if necessary. But it needs to have every step along the way, and it needs to have an understanding that I'm the stupid guy. It needs to have the most basic, hey idiot, here's how to do this, and walk me through every little minutia step that there is. But the problem is things will change and it'll be outdated tomorrow. So, there's that. Glenn says, I asked OpenClaw why this isn't working and it ran tools to fix it. That's interesting. Tom says, Tim is too flashy. I don't know that he's too flashy. He's a very, very smart person. And the people who watch him are also very, very smart people. So they don't have to have the talks about the little minute details. And that's where it kind of falls apart for me. Because he's built some stuff and has done some videos on some content that I would love to know how he did it. But that's not how he rolls. And that's fine. It works very well for him. But I need something different than the way he presents. I've used Claude to help fix OpenClaw and it works sometimes. Other times I just have OpenCloud come up with its own solution. For example, do an SEO audit on X site, and off it went. That's so strange. Yeah, Nighthawk says he also runs everything on Kubernetes, and his group has followed him since that, right? And I'm not a Kubernetes guy. I don't, for this doesn't need Kubernetes, right? Like 3 NASs, a mini PC for testing, and a ZimaCube running Proxmox. Like that's my whole setup. I don't need more than that. I don't need Kubernetes to manage that. I don't have multi-node setups. I don't have high availability. I don't have redundancy. Like I've got backups, but backups aren't redundancy, and redundancy isn't backups, you know? You could make a killing selling some of that RAM. Dude, I know. I'm right. Well, and it's SODIMM RAM. So there's that part, right? But like, here's the thing. Because I've tested so many mini PCs over the years, like these are all at least 8 gig sticks. Some of them are 16. I think some of them are 32. Like I've got RAM. Yeah, that's a 32 gig kit. But like, yeah, lots of RAM available. But the hoarder mindset is like, if you sold that, you would need it tomorrow. I know I wouldn't, but my stupid brain's like, you would need that if you sold it. So with how fast AI is moving, I want yesterday's news, local AI stable, like Debian, easy to set up and good documentation is what I want. That's it. Oh, that's hilarious. Mrs. DB Tech is here. That's hilarious. I am shocked. Apparently she and Red are talking, and they both decided to join the live stream. That's hilarious. Thank you. That's really funny. Let's see. Think programmatically, like when you write code. I don't write code. That's just it. I haven't been a developer of any sort in a really, really long time. I used to do front end, and back end terrifies me. I'm not a back end developer. The programmatic way that code has to go doesn't make sense in my brain. Like I can very often reverse engineer something. Like I can look at code and understand it depending on what's going on. Like I can do that, but writing code from a blank slate, not me at all. But again, if I look at a piece of code, I can often tell what it does, or at least have a general idea of what's going on. Let's see. Where did it go? Damn it. I hit it. I scroll a little bit. It's like, here, scroll all the way to the bottom. Peter says, got here a little late. Busy assembling together patio furniture today. That actually sounds like fun. I like building furniture, like patio furniture, IKEA furniture, man. If I could get paid well to do that, I would do that all day long without even a complaint. I love it. I like watching Tim's videos. They give me ideas. That's all. That's fair. K3S isn't that bad, guys. It's just like traffic. Yeah, I don't like traffic either. Just in time for the K3S talk. Yep, the universe wants you to learn. That's funny. It's just me and flashing RAM like that. Dude, I know, and I kind of feel like a dick flashing RAM like that. RAM tease. I still have DDR2 SODIMMs because my tech hoarder mentality. Yep, absolutely. 100% busted on the hoarding. Look, I admit it. It's not right. No, she's not wrong. I absolutely do that. And one of these days, I'm gonna do it. One of these days, I'm just gonna get rid of a bunch of stuff. I just have to convince myself that it's okay to do it. Yep. But the thing is, when we don't have it, it's when we'll need it. Yep. What? No tea? She offered tea today. She really did. She really did offer. But I'm doing these. This is not just water. It's got like electrolytes and stuff in it because some of the new meds I'm on give me like the worst cotton mouth I've ever experienced in my life. So I've got to do this other stuff that's got extra hydration in it. Let's see if it's Sunday afternoon. This isn't DB Tech After Dark. That's funny. Forgot how to type properly, but the Chinese stuff never lines up properly. That's for for when the Mac Mini M5 comes out to raise funds, right? Wouldn't that be something? Not just water, even just say vodka, moonshine, bro. No, I don't drink all that much anymore lately. I don't know why. I just haven't really felt the urge to. I have a beer every once in a while. But that much vodka would ruin my week. And I don't want to do that. I have plans this coming weekend. What is it? This coming Saturday. So this coming Saturday is the 10th anniversary for me and Mrs. DB Tech. So we're going to go up to Denver and hang out for a few nights. We've got a hotel just off of 16th Street. So we're going to go hang out up there for a few nights and kind of unwind after a while. So we're real excited about that. So thank you, Trojan Morse. I appreciate that. But that's also a good segue into there won't be a live stream next weekend because I will be in Denver with Mrs. DB Tech celebrating our 10-year anniversary. So, you get to an age where you feel ill at the thought of it. Yeah. Wow, Peter says 10, congrats on 10 years. 45 years for my wife and I on May 2nd. Oh, that was yesterday. Happy anniversary. That's amazing. 45 years. Holy cow, man. That's really, really awesome. No, that's amazing. Well done. I'm stoked on 10. I think Rachel, Mrs. DB Tech is as well. Yeah, May 2nd, 1981. I wasn't even born yet. That's wow. That's something to be proud of, man. Collins and his wife just had their 20th in the past July. That reminds me of my anniversary this week as well. That's funny. You are a very lucky man. And it's cool that you recognize that, Peter. Stoked on 10. Yep. Just saved me. Well, I'm glad that we had this conversation, JD. Years for mine, Ben, and his girlfriend is 4 years. Your daughter was born the following year in 1982. That's bonkers. The wife and I were both born in 81, but she's got me by just a few months. Till death do us part. That's right. Yep. Honestly, it's why I waited till I was in my 30s to get married. Like I know a lot of people do their own thing, and that's amazing, and it works out for them. But I had to wait until I knew who I was, and then I got married. Nope, that's the wrong order. We got together, and things were really great. And then I got sick, and I got brain damage, and I didn't know who I was anymore. And she married me anyway. In fact, she served me with wedding papers. Like came out of my third coma, and she's like, "Here, sign this." And I was like, cool, I guess we're getting married. And we did. So that was fun. It was a good time. I hardly join the streams. This one's so wholesome and relaxing. Just love the space here. Well, I'm glad that you're here, Trojan Morse. We do a lot of these just hangout chat kind of live streams. We do that a lot because it's a good chance to just hang out with like-minded people without actually having to be in the presence of other people. Because, I like my space. Thunder says, hey, thanks for the Obsidian live sync video. I've been wanting to do that for a while, but your video made it super easy. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you. I'm really glad that video was helpful. There were several people in the comments that were like, what's the point when you can do it all of these other ways? And I'm like, well, the point is because people asked, how do I do it with a database? And I was like, so let's show how to do it with a database. So I'm glad that video is being helpful to some people because other people other people were kind of mean about it. Like, well, you could just do a shared folder, or you could just set up a share in Nextcloud, or you could just, and I'm just like, why don't you just shut the hell up and enjoy the fact that I made some content that helps some people out. But that's how people are. So, and it's funny. It's funny how I will make a video about something and people are like, do you need help doing it this other way? Because this is a better way to do it. I'm like, no, I don't. This is the way I like to do it. But congrats on having your way of doing it. That's why we're doing this, because we can each do it our own separate way. And that's one of my favorite things about self-hosting, is that we can all do things a completely different way and get the same end result. Peter says this has to be one of my top 5 live streams. So thank you. I appreciate that. That's really nice. Yep. The point is you own your data, own your sync. Yep. People, right? It's an interesting video. And I totally would have done it that way, but for my use case, it was better using sync thing. And that's absolutely acceptable as well. There's all kinds of different ways you can do it. I think they mean well, but they just don't think. And that's part of it. And look, and I still am sometimes. I used to be very guilty of, well, if I know this, why don't you know this? And I was a really awful person in my comments as a result of that for a long time. But once I stopped with the solipsistic mind state, and I was like, okay, we all came from somewhere. We're all at different levels. It makes more sense for me to do it this way, but maybe other people have a different reason for their way of doing it. And once I flipped that switch in my brain, I'm very rarely mean in my comments. But if somebody leaves a stupid or derogatory comment, I am more likely to ban that person or mute that person than I am to say something mean or derogatory in response. If only they realized how much work goes into one of these. I mean, yeah, there's a lot going on in a live stream. It gets easier. Sometimes depending on what I'm doing, like if we're just doing a hangout live stream like this, this is just us hanging out, having a good time. But like when if I'm over here building something, or if we're back here building something, sometimes it would be nice to have a producer, who could just be a bug in my ear to be like, hey, don't forget about this, or hey, somebody asked this, or whatever. But, I usually manage fairly well, all things considered. One of the machines that need notes is going to be headless, so it can't run Obsidian. I thought there was a headless Obsidian, Glenn. I think there is a headless Obsidian, but that might require a subscription. I don't know. Thunder says people need to remember that these methods and ideas are just tools to get the job done. Every tradesman carries a toolbox, but each for a different tool depending on what the job and their experience. That's a great analogy. I really like that. Like we're all doing the same thing. We all just have a different method of doing it. People need to chill out and realize that their use case isn't everyone else's use case. And that's where I had to switch my mindset. You're 100% right on that, Glenn. Nighthawk says, I've threatened to do that a couple of times, be a producer. You have. And if we ever come to a point where I'm doing a big project, I may take you up on that if we can schedule a time to make that happen. Because I'm not entirely sure what that would look like from a remote perspective. We would probably have to do something in Discord, and I'd have to wear the headphones that I don't necessarily like to wear. I always feel like a douche wearing headphones on streams, mostly because it's just me and nobody's trying to communicate with me. Glenn says, I'm pretty sure it does need a subscription. Oh, cell call with earbuds or something. Yeah, that might work. That might be a good idea. Yeah, Nighthawk, we might have to, next time I'm doing a big project or a big production kind of thing, it may come down to that. We'll have to see how it goes, but I appreciate your offer on that because it may come down to that. neuro implants from Musk. You know, I'm not against implants. I was actually talking with somebody about that. Maybe it was last live stream or somewhere, or maybe it was in Discord. Like if I could have an NFC chip planted in my hand, I 100% would, because I would have it do things like unlock my phone, but I would also want my medical records on it, so that if something happened, they could scan my hand and be like, "Hey, this guy's a medical dumpster fire, and he's allergic to heparin, and opioids don't do anything to help him out." If they could know that I've got kidney disease by just scanning my hand, I would 100%, without even a second guess or a second thought, I would get something implanted in my hand. I would sign up for that in a heartbeat. Basically just got burned on researching how to do it. Just went with the sync thing, as it's just dead simple. That's fair. Yeah. If you're, because the nice thing about Obsidian is it's just markdown files. And you could send those back and forth really easily with that. A tattoo might work. Here's the problem, because I'd actually considered that, Peter. The problem is like this. It's hard to see because of the angle, right? So I got this in 2017, so almost 10 years ago. And at this distance, it looks fine, but up close, it's the edges are bleeding. And if you were to do something like a QR code, I don't know how long it would last before it stopped working, right? Because obviously I've seen people get QR code tattoos, but I don't know how long it would last before tattoos change over time. Exactly. So that would be my concern, because there's no permanent way to make sure that it wouldn't bleed. Because otherwise I would 100% do that too. But I like the cyberpunk aspect of getting an NFC implant in my hand, again, to do things like unlock my phone or have, medical records or be able to tap as I'm entering or exiting a room to toggle lights on and off. All kinds of different things. Tech becomes redundant quickly. There are folks getting chips implanted years ago that'll now be obsolete. That's true. And that's why I would want just a basic NFC thing that would be reprogrammable. Bit rot, right? So even a barcode tattoos end up becoming a black box. Yep. I've seen barcode tattoos, because it was real popular for a while to get them like on the back of your neck. And I think, and I think that's just it. They will eventually fade into a blob. And I've considered getting this touched up, just to see what they could do to fix that. But I haven't. I've had other things to do. We put a new twist on getting hacked, right? Yeah, as long as it wasn't actually attached to my brain or whatever. Yeah, Hitman. There was also Rachel would know was it Angel? What was that show with the hot chick and she was born in a lab or whatever, and everybody had tattoos. Dark Angel. Thank you. I knew it was Angel something. Yeah, Hitman, Dark Angel. Yeah. All kind of from around the same time, the mid to late 90s, early 2000s. But yeah, if they faded, then it'd be a no-go. You end up with, yep. Yeah, see, she knows all this stuff with regards to those types of shows from back then. She's very into that kind of thing. It still blows me away that was a James Cameron television show after all of the cinema that he's done. And I think there's actually something hanging on our kitchen wall that says something to that effect. I watched that. I wonder why, right? I can't imagine anybody who wouldn't watch that. We're all nerds here. That's exactly right. That's why we're hanging out on our computers and chatting. Collins. Yeah, younger me is now in the chat. Absolutely. Yep, yep. Oh man. Oh, itch. Man, I gotta fix this. It's driving me nuts. You know what? That is a fair question, Collins. Let me see if I can pull it up, and I will tell you. Because like that's out of date. Oh right. Yeah, Collins was a bit of an overachiever here, and I've blocked the email address, so this is safe to share here. But a PDF and a PowerPoint presentation and all kinds of different things here. Collins, do you have a do you have a specific version of this that will give the best presentation in your opinions? Would be open to opening any of these. Is there a particular one that you're most proud of? Probably the presentation version. They're all the same, just in different output formats. All right, well, let me do this real quick. That's Google Slides. What is this? Can we do? All right. All right, so here we go. The first one is PowerPoint. All right, so I gotta turn off that for just a minute here, so that we can get the full picture. Yeah, he is a corporate manager. You can tell. All right, so Homelab Showcase, a self-hosted infrastructure built for reliability, performance, and total control. There's your mission statement. This is such a corporate thing to do, and I love it for all the reasons. I will say this: Asus PVE1, that one looks familiar, though I can't imagine why. It looks like you got your 3D printed 10-inch rack. Love that, with all your different nodes. All right, so it does look very familiar, yep. So the philosophy, stability first, super important, Proxmox and PBS, or Proxmox backup server coverage. For every workload, nothing ships without a backup. I love that. It reminds me of meetings at iOmega. That's funny. Proxmox backup server with weekly offline USB sync. That's awesome. Low power, always on, right-sized hardware for each role, mini PCs, NUCs, and small form factor boxes. Clean segmentation, 4 VLANs, main, IoT, guest, and VPN. Inter-VLAN firewall keeps cameras, IoT, and guests properly isolated. I've done some of that. I need to do some tidying up, but I was able to prove to myself the other day that the stuff on my Proxmox testing server on that VLAN has no access to anything else, which I was really, really happy with. Across the other VLANs, so that makes me feel better. Let's see. Did we get a bonus? Right? Isn't that's pretty funny. Okay, so we've got PVE 1, 2, 3, and 4. So PVE 1 is an Asus NUC 14 Pro Plus. That is this guy right here. That used to be mine. Asus sent me that. Now Collins has it. PVE, and that's got the Core Ultra 9 185H with 96 gigs of DDR5. Year over year was flat, no bonuses. That's a fair response. I'm guessing you bought the 96 gigs of DDR5 before everything went boom. That's just for your general workloads. That makes sense. PVE 2, which is the HP over here. It's got an i5 10500 with 64 gigs of DDR4 RAM and an ARC A10 or A310 for Plex and Docker did well before the explosion. That's a good idea. Yeah. The Arc A310 is such a beast of a little card. Love using that for the same Plex setup that you've got. PVE3, which is going to be this little guy right there. It's a Camrui H1 Mini with a Ryzen 7 6800H, 32 gigs of RAM for Home Assistant, AdGuard, and Semaphore. Let's see, PVE4, which is down here, is also an HP Z2 Mini G3 with an i7-7700T. For sandboxing, that makes sense. Older device, doesn't have all the bells and whistles, so that makes a ton of sense. PBS, where is it? I don't see it. Anyway, AU Star N100, 16 gigs of RAM for Proxmox backup server, probably the next slide. Okay, fair enough. Proxmox Data Center Manager, which is this Thing Center up here. That's an older device with the i3-4130T and DDR3 RAM in it. I've had such mixed results with Proxmox Data Center Manager that I haven't bothered with it in a really long time. I had it set up as an LXC on the ZimaCube, and it was so finicky and inconsistent that I got rid of it. Herbie must be on the next slide as well. Dell Precision T5810 with a Xeon RTX 3060, 32 gigs of RAM for AI Llama, N8N, and Invoke AI. I feel like and then you got a TrueNAS build. What is this thing next to the NUC? That kind of looks like a Zima something. Oh, that's a Zima board. Okay, that's why it looks like a Zima something. That makes sense. Arc 310, yeah, it's the Intel. It's an Intel card. It's the Sparkle A310. It's a tiny little like PCI powered, like no extra power. It's like 4 gigs of VRAM. It does such a good job of transcoding. That's what I've got set up for transcoding here at the house. All right, next slide. TrueNAS scale. Hold on. Jason said, I've been having issues with PDM lately too. Can't update through the web UI CLI only. That's weird. Use 1.2. Oh, I got you. Yeah, okay, I got you. So now we're getting into the storage architecture. Love that we've split up the compute from the storage. TrueNAS scale. We've got 6 8-terabyte hard drives, RAID Z2. It's good to have a couple of options or a couple of drives that can fail. 32 terabytes of usable space. Yeah, bulk media, Stormbreaker, 1 terabyte SSD, fast application data. That's actually how I've got my ZimaCube set up for like Plex and that sort of thing. For my VMs that don't really matter, I've got those sitting on hard drives. But then all of the stuff that I want to be fast, quick, fast, and in a hurry, all of those live on NVMe drives, and it works out really well that way. So I dig that you've also taken that same approach for having your speedier, or the stuff that you want to run fast on the faster storage. So well done. I approve. You got your QNAP T6 or TS1635AX, purely SMB media storage only, mounted to Docker. And Ugreen DH4300 Plus with 32 terabytes as a backup target. I've been curious about the Ugreen stuff, but I've never actually used it. I never had one. They've reached out to me several times, but it was never Ugreen reaching out. It was always some third-party agency, and I didn't like the way they presented the collaboration, so I never had an opportunity to work with Ugreen directly. So I've always kind of wondered how they how they operate, and I've really wondered what the operating system is like. So maybe one of these days I'll get a chance to check it out. So 80 terabytes of raw storage and 3x backup targets. I dig it. And then networking, again, we're segmenting our presentations out. We've got our VLAN 10 for main, for servers, PCs, and trusted, VLAN 20 for cameras and smart devices, VLAN 30 for isolated internet access, and VLAN 40 for PIA and Toronto WireGuard. Cool. It's fine. I think it's very good, less expensive than Synology. Their OS is fine, also nothing crazy. So just kind of a just a drop-in replacement almost for Synology is what it sounds like. Let's see. Hardware, UCG fiber, gateway. You got a USW Enterprise 8 PoE, U7 Pro, U6 Pro, and U7 Lite. That's a lot of Wi-Fi's. You also got the USW Pro Max 16 PoE, the US8 PoE 150 watt, and Tailscale via LXC. I dig it. Does its job. That's important. The cool thing with Ugreen is you can install whatever OS you want. That's good to know. I wasn't aware of that. Like I know you can do that with TerraMaster stuff. I've never tried it with the Synology stuff, but that's good to know. External access via Cloudflare tunnels. There's Tailscale, internal SSL via Nginx Proxy Manager with DNS Challenge via Cloudflare. I've seen a lot of people do the internal SSL thing. I just have things restricted via Cloudflare tunnels as far as based on IP address. But that works. And again, we can all kind of do things our own different way. The network rack. Patch panels, a 24-port structured cabling for whole house runs. Man, I would love to do that someday. The USW Pro Max 16 PoE for core distribution with 2.5 gig uplinks. UCG fiber for IDS, IPS active. That's good. For intrusion prevention or detection and prevention. WAN port 5 on FiOS. And then a US 860 watt with 1 gig access layer to the rack devices. Love it. And then the Unify infrastructure, man, you have really gone all out here. That is a beast of a setup you've got there on the Unify stuff. Yep. You know, actually, because of you and Nighthawk talking the other day, I finally understand the purpose of the 10 dot subnets. Like I always just thought it was people being show-offy for whatever reason. But then when I realized, like when you've got 192.168, like you've got an octet missing. So like by doing the 10 dot, you end up with an extra octet and you can do way more subnetting and that sort of thing. And I didn't realize that was the purpose until very, very recently. So I'm actually really glad that I was able to learn that. I can't imagine needing that much extra as far as IP addresses are concerned. The 192.168 works really well for what I've got going, but now I understand the purpose behind the 10 dot setup and why so many enterprise like hospitals and data centers, and now I understand why the 10 dot is so important for those situations. Literally just learned that recently. So really happy to have learned that. And then you've got all of this stuff listed over here. 90 clients. Holy cow, man. Nighthawk says, for me, it was just what I've been using for so long because of work. That makes sense. The QNAP is the next piece of hardware to get replaced. It just needed something with large volume storage that I didn't have to build. That's fair. Whole house runs were only possible because of having the walls open from the remodel. That's fair. Huh. All right, what is next? The Docker fleet. Holy cow. 122 total containers with 86 unique images and 8 Dockhand environments. Doc Apps, Doc R, Herbie, Vision, Ultron, and Sandbox. That's pretty awesome. Man. Homepage. 3 different pages on homepage for apps and media infrastructure, network, and monitoring. Is your network and monitoring, is that Glance brought through onto that page? Three tabs, everything green. Everything green's important. That's pretty cool. And then Dockhand, holy cow, man. That is bonkers. One of these days, I probably really should switch over to Dockhand, but I think that would involve me having to redeploy a whole bunch of stuff so that home pages in it. Okay, I gotcha. But I feel like if to deploy Dockhand, I would have to redeploy a whole bunch of stuff so that Dockhand could have control over it. And I don't know that I have that much patience to do that. Maybe I should start with something small and try that. But I scared, I guess, is because if I get halfway through and give up, then I'm stuck halfway through and giving up. So I don't know what I want to do. Luckily, I don't have 8 environments with 122 containers running with 86 unique images. I've only got like 20 or like 15 or 20 LXCs and VMs to deal with. Got almost everything pointing back at Git for deployment now. That's pretty cool. I'm wondering how easy it would be to switch from Dockage to Dockhand. I've kind of wondered that same thing, honestly. I only have that many hosts because I like segmentation. That's fair. All right, what is next? Container roster. Holy balls. That's a lot of stuff you've got running. That's impressive, man. Like some of this I've got. Like I've got a Ghost instance. I've got a file browser instance. Got a WordPress and a Vault Warden. AdGuard Sync. I got a couple of those. Got 2 Cloudflare instances. Man, this is pretty impressive that you were able to get all of this. All of this put into a presentation, man. Like this is impressive. Monitoring stack. The setup is insane. Good stuff. I agree. I was able to switch over to Dockhand pretty easily, but I was also in a mood to change the folder structure. And that's part of the problem is a lot of my some of my containers are in Docker. They're using Docker storage instead of mapped volumes. They're using Docker volumes. That's the word I was looking for. And I would have to rebuild my Docker composes to have, or to have to modify the Docker compose files to have them recognize the external storage. And I actually did that yesterday on something, so I have a better idea of how to do it. It's just a matter of doing it, I think. JC and I are the overachievers. It's true. I needed this inspiration, right? No, I don't disagree. I needed this inspiration as well, I think. I'm not going to put together a presentation like this, but it definitely gives me something to think about with regards to having one place to manage everything. Now this is super, super impressive. AI and automation, the Llama and Home Assistant. Oh, and then all of the different locations, or all of the different rooms and areas. That's pretty impressive, dude. Media Stack, Usenet, Sonar, Radar, Seer, QNAP, Plex, Media Server. Running that in a Windows 11 VM, I totally get that, man. That's how I had mine set up for a while. I had mine set up as on bare metal, on a Windows 11 bare metal setup, because it just worked better that way for what I was doing at the time. And I didn't want to deal with the NVIDIA driver setup. But now I'm less scared about it. But now the problem is, like, I've got, like I could absolutely switch over to this, but this won't fit in my Zima Cube. So that's why I had to go with the Sparkle A310. So it is what it is. Oops, there we go. And Tube Archivist with 3 terabytes of downloaded media. That's bonkers. Man. What's next? Firewall rules in progress. We've got a VLAN 20 migration for 9 Real-Link cameras to the IoT VLAN once the rules are live. That's awesome. And then N8N automation, Gmail to Papra via Google Auth. That sounds actually like a fun thing to do so that you can archive your email. That's a really cool project. I love that. That's a great idea. Oh, and then there's everything else. And then there's all of that. Man, love it. Love the 10-inch rack. I love that you're also using the smaller full-size rack. Love that. Additional devices, Real-Link Home Hub, Mac Pro trash can. Love that. With the Xeon 6 cores, 12 thread, 32 gigs of DDR or ECC DDR3, dual FireWire Pro. Wow. Or sorry, Fire Pro. I don't know why I said FireWire. I think NVMe translated to wire. My brain cross-combobulated them. That's really neat, man. Excuse the mess. This is the command center, my daily driver. Ryzen 7 7700s, 32 gigs of DDR5. Ryzen 6700 XT, 1 terabyte of NVMe, 4 terabytes of NVMe for games and storage. Keychron K28E. Ooh, love the Hall Effects keyboard, man. Hall Effects is such a great keyboard. If I could get an ergonomic Hall Effects keyboard, I'd be so happy. Logitech G502 Hero, Keychron dual 27 140 hertz monitors. Left is 4K, right is 1440p. Love it. That's pretty great. Also love 5 pounds of Twizzlers. That's a lot of Twizzlers. I've got a thing for Swedish fish, so I get it. I get it. Yeah, FireWire is another technology that fizzled out, right? And then your work from home setup for the day job, nothing special here, but figured I'd share this. Also, Surface laptop, 32 gig LG 4K monitor, Keychron V6 with Gateron Jupiter Banana switches, and a Keychron M6 8000 polling rate mouse. Love it. Very cool. Very, very cool. Thanks for watching. Got questions? Reach out on the Discord. Absolutely. Man, that, I think you've set a standard that nobody's ever going to meet again, Collins. About the huge bag of Twizzlers, and it lasted me like 2 to 3 weeks. That's funny. When I was in the hospital, I ate a lot of gummy worms that I probably shouldn't have, so I get it. But I've always had a thing for Swedish fish, and I don't know why. They're not great, but there's just enough flavor in them that I really like them. And the texture. Texture is a big thing for me, so I really dig those as well. But no, thank you for sharing that, Collins. I really appreciate it. Again, I think you've set a standard that nobody's ever going to meet. What did JD said? Something, Collins. At least throw Windows Server on it. Good, right? Have to get back to the furniture build. Well, glad to have you here, Peter. Thanks so much for hanging out. Got to use what works for you. It's all just tools at the end. That's right. Yep. Good to know. It took me some time to finally get it all cleaned up and well documented. I feel like my home lab is finally pretty solid. No, that's amazing. I think I might actually try moving some things around with Dockhand. It really seems like the way to handle things, because I'd spent so long having Portainer doing everything, and it was just such a jumbled mess with the way I had it set up. And I think maybe I'll start making the migration at some point over to Dockhand, and maybe I'll make some content out of it. I don't know. We'll see. But this might be the motivation that I need to give Dockhand another try. So I don't know. We'll see. But thank you, Collins, for sharing that and for the inspiration there. But absolutely adore Dockhand. I have one LXC dedicated to Dockhand, then the Hauser agent set up on all of the other hosts. Yep. I don't know if it's Hauser, Hauser. I don't know, man. But yeah, maybe one of these days. Oh, you've also added more semaphore stuff. I really want to learn semaphore. I'm just maybe that'll be a project for me once I get this file server set up. I'll work on dockhand and semaphore and see if I can't be one of the cool kids. Yeah, one single place to manage all of my containers. That's what I really want. Because right now I'm having to log into all of my different LXCs. Like now I have to log into all of these to update things. And that's really, really tedious. So if I could get dockhand in place to do some of that for me, I think that would be the better way to go. So maybe that's what I'll do once I get this file server up and running. So, but I think, guys, I'm going to start wrapping this up. I want to thank you guys so much. If you enjoyed the live stream, do me a favor, hit the like button. That would really help me out quite a bit. We've got more than 40 people here and only 20 likes on the stream. So if you wanted to do that, that would be awesome as well. Speed test is self-hosted. Maybe I can show you. No, I don't know what the port is on that. Oops. Docker PS. 8087 maybe. Man, what a mess. $80.87. Maybe. Yeah. Oh, I don't remember the password. Damn, I can't show you. Sorry. Anywho, anyway, yeah, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. My eyes are killing me. My voice is starting to go. But thank you guys so much for hanging out. Thanks for the haircut. I got that a couple of weeks ago. It was getting pretty bad. It was looking like a hippie. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I like to be clean cut more than I do anything else. So yep. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Really appreciate you taking some time to hang out with me on a Sunday. New content coming this week. Super excited about that. And I'll chat with you guys here again real soon. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll talk to you later.